Hello Deep History Lab viewers. Today, with the first episode of our History of Economic Thought series, we are getting beamed back in time to the 4th century BC, to Athens. We will question everything you know about modern economics. Today, I will tell you where the word economy comes from. It's from ancient Greek, dollaroikonomia dollar, dollaroikos dollar, house household, dollanomos dollar, rule law. So, the literal meaning is household management. This is our first major breaking point. While modern economics targets the wealth of nations and GDP, the greatest goal of economic thought in ancient Greece was to maintain balance in the home and the city. The desire to make money was not considered a virtue for the polis city-state, but a dangerous flaw. The purpose of the economy was not to accumulate wealth, but to maintain a good life. Part 1. Plato's formula for social harmony. Let's start with the giant name. Whose ideas first touched upon economic thought? Plato. In his famous work, The Republic, Plato was trying to establish an ideal city-state. And what was the first and most important rule of this ideal state? Do you know? Division of labor. Plato argued that if a person tries to do everything, they will do nothing well. A shoemaker should only make shoes, and a farmer should only grow wheat. Because if every individual specializes in just one area, both efficiency and quality will reach their maximum level. This idea was put forward more than 2,000 years before Adam Smith's pin factory example. However, Plato's intention was not to create economic prosperity like Smith's. Plato's intention was to create an ideal, stable, and just social order. In his eyes, the division of labor was a way to ensure social harmony. Part 2. Aristotle, the destructive power of money. Aristotle, Plato's brightest student, took economic thought to a completely different level. He analyzed the concept of money deeply for the first time. This is where the chasm between us and the modern financial world begins. Aristotle divided all economic activities into two main categories, oikonomia and natural economy. This is household management. Its purpose is to meet basic needs. Use value krematistikos, the art of wealth getting. This is solely to make money. For the sake of making money. Exchange value. Aristotle found the meeting of basic needs, to be moral and natural. But he declared the second, krematistikos, to be immoral and dangerous for the social order. Why? Because the limitless accumulation of wealth upsets the balance of society. The opposition to usury interest. Aristotle's fierce opposition to interest shaped the Western world throughout the Middle Ages. According to him, money is only a medium of exchange. It was invented to facilitate the trade of goods. So, what is interest? In interest, money gives birth to money. For Aristotle, this was a completely unnatural act. With his famous saying, money is barren. Expecting offspring from something barren is against morality. This condemnation was fueled by real social crises, such as debt slavery, where Athenian citizens who could not pay their debts were enslaved. Aristotle saw interest as a mechanism that made the rich richer and the poor into slaves. Part 3. Virtue and the conception of limited wealth. To understand why the ideas of Aristotle and Plato were so important, let's recall the biggest difference between them and modern economics. Modern economics, growth, and efficiency. Ancient economics, virtue and balance. For them, economic decisions were, above all, moral decisions. How much profit a merchant should make was closely related to how good a citizen he was. If we briefly look at the Roman Empire after ancient Greece, their contribution to economic thought was more practical and legal. Rome focused less on theoretical philosophy and more on laying the groundwork for modern law. In areas like land ownership, contracts, and tax collection to manage the empire. However, they did not question the accumulation of wealth as much as the Greeks did. For them, the power and logistics of the empire were paramount. Conclusion and next step. This is why the history of economic thought begins, not with the invention of money, but with the limits of morality. Ancient thought reminds us that the economy is a tool, and the goal is to establish a good and balanced society. So, how was this Greek philosophy carried into the age of Christianity? How did Aristotle's idea that interest is bad become an official dogma adopted by the Church? During the Middle Ages, And how did merchants of that era try to reconcile the desire for high profit and interest with the philosophy of just price dollar, justum pretium dollar? In the next episode, we will dive into the scholastic period and Thomas Aquinas' search for the just price. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to continue this adventure. See you then!